to yearofhitchcockmovies.com. We are your hosts, Jeff and Diane. Tonight is movie number one, so we're real excited. The movie is The Lodger, 1927, a story of the London fog. And we've got murder, we've got suspense, we've got man on the run, we've got a blonde leading lady, and we've got brandy. Sounds like a Hitchcock film to me. It was actually based on a book called The Lodger and a play called Who Is He that Hitchcock saw in London. And he actually picked this topic. He wanted to do this film, and that has implications for later. Once he did sign a movie contract, there were films he did that he didn't really want to do, and you can sure tell. This is loosely based on a Jack the Ripper style serial killer in London, except this particular serial killer kills only blonde women, and he kills them on Tuesdays. So now, despite the fact that we're making this movie number one, it actually isn't the first movie that he directed. It's the third. It's just that the first two, one of them is unavailable on DVD and the other one is considered lost. Those two are The Pleasure Garden and The Mountain Eagle. So, and Hitchcock really didn't consider those to be his first. He considered this one. In fact, the quote that he's quoted many times is, in truth, you could say The Lodger was my first picture. So if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for us. So this also was the first opportunity for him to do his Hitchcockian thing. And that's what's fun about this movie, is that you can see the elements of his directorial style, even this early on. Now this movie stars Ivor Novello, who is the Lodger. He stars as the Lodger. Now, he was a matinee idol at the time. He was a huge name. He was a heartthrob, big name. And that's a good thing for this movie, for the popularity, but it's kind of a bad thing. And we'll talk about that after the show. Ivor Novello was a huge name. He was also a songwriter. He wrote the tune to the song Keep the Home Fires Burning, which was a big World War I hit in England. I want to give you a little bit of background for this movie, because when Diane and I saw it, we were kind of confused at the beginning. We're going to do this a little bit for these earlier movies. The movie starts out with a flashing marquee that says "Tonight, Golden Curls." Now what that is that's on a theater of sorts, and that's advertising a show. We don't see the theater, we don't see the building, we just see this flashing lights, "Tonight, Golden Curls." Then a woman screams, she's murdered. That's how the movie starts. An eyewitness describes the murderer to a policeman, and a crowd gathers, a reporter's there. We see the whole story disseminated the usual way in the late 1800s through wire service, a teletype, and radio announcement. So the public learns, as we learn at that time, about the murders, about these blonde women being killed on Tuesdays. The movie also stars an actress who she went under the name June. She did have a full name, I forget what it is, kind of like Cher. She's called June. Now she plays a fashion model. In the opening credits it says June, a mannequin, but I guess that's 1927 talk for a fashion model. And yes, she is blonde. Now the Hitchcock cameo in this movie is really early on. We're going to tell you what to look for, because it's hard to see this one. And we're also, Diane's going to talk a little more after the movie about the cameos, because they're pretty cool. We love them. But it happens during this scene where we're learning about the story, and his back is to you. He's sitting at a desk. That's Hitchcock. Probably he's in the end. There's a big scene at the end. There's a big crowd of people. I think it is him. I can't tell. It's possible that that's a cameo as well. Now this is a silent film. And Hitchcock made a bunch of silent films. I think we have to go through 4. We're not used to silent films. It's kind of silly. You're sitting there watching it, and you're reading the dialogue, and there's just music, and you're trying to read their lips, and do try to read their lips, because you can. But I have to say, when I first saw it, it drags a little bit. So try to have fun despite all that. Now this is the version that we're watching. It is a new restored version. It's clearer, the picture is better. I don't think Diane has seen this version. We saw the one that Netflix gave us, which is maybe how a lot of you are watching it. And that's okay, but this is just a little better. This also has an excellent documentary called The Making of The Lodger, which is actually a very good introduction to Hitchcock as well. Good documentary. So now, despite the fact that this movie does not have the ending that Hitchcock wanted, and again, Diane and I will talk about that a little bit more at the end of the movie, This movie went on to be a huge success. It was a huge success commercially and critically. In fact, it was hailed as the greatest British film to date at that time, which is pretty lofty praise for a 27-year-old director's first movie. Not bad. So here we go. 1927, The Lodger, A Story of the London Fog. Let's watch.